Welcome back to Midlife Awakening. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt stuck in a loop? You make a promise to yourself, take a bold step of faith, but months or maybe even years later, you look around and realize you're standing right back where you started. You're still dealing with the same frustrations, the same habits, the same arguments, the same patterns. It's like your life is on repeat. And maybe you've even said to yourself, why does it feel like I'm not moving forward? But what if the delay isn't because God is slow, but because we've been holding the map upside down? What if the promised land is closer than we think, but our own disobedience, our fear, our unwillingness to trust Him fully is what's keeping us wandering? Today, we're diving into one of the most sobering yet hope-filled stories in Scripture, the generation that spent 40 years in the wilderness, not because God forgot them, but because they refused to trust Him. If you're tired of circling the same mountain, this episode is for you. Let's start with the story. God delivered Israel from Egypt with a miracle after miracle. The Red Sea split, manna fell from heaven, and water flowed from rocks. A journey that should have taken weeks ended up taking 40 years. Why? It wasn't a lack of direction. God was guiding them every day with a cloud by day and pillar of fire by night. It wasn't a lack of provision either. In Deuteronomy 29, God reminds them, during the 40 years I led you through the wilderness, your clothes did not wear out, nor did the sandals on your feet. Think about that. Even in their rebellion, God's faithfulness never failed. He kept feeding them. He kept sustaining them. Their shoes didn't wear out. Their clothes didn't fade. But here's the hard truth. God's provision does not equal His permission. He can sustain you in the wilderness, but that doesn't mean He wants you to stay there. They had everything they needed except one thing: obedience. They saw giants in the land and froze. They saw obstacles and forgot the one who had split the sea. They refused to trust His promise when it didn't make sense. And so they wandered, not because God abandoned them, but because they hardened their hearts. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 7 to 8 says, "Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion." A hard heart isn't always loud rebellion. It's often quiet resistance. It's when we say, "I'll obey later." It's when we prioritize logic over faith, fear over trust. That's what kept them circling for 40 years. Familiarity over faith. So what is the promised rest we're called to enter? In Hebrews chapter 4 verse 11 says, "Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will perish by following their example of disobedience." This rest isn't about sleeping more or doing less. It's about trusting more. It's when your soul finally stops striving to control everything and starts trusting the one who already has it under control. It's the peace that comes when you stop trying to force outcomes and start walking in obedience, step by step, even when it doesn't make sense. For the Israelites, the promised rest was the land flowing with milk and honey, a place of fruitfulness and purpose. For us, it might be the peace we've been praying for, the calling we've been avoiding, the healing we've been postponing because obedience feels too costly. The Israelites didn't need a new direction. They needed a new heart posture. Your breakthrough may not come from moving somewhere new, but from obeying where you are. So let's pause and bring this home. Ask yourself, where in my life am I circling the same mountain? Because I haven't yet obeyed what God already told me to do. What's the giant in the land you're afraid to face? Maybe it's forgiving someone who hurt you. Maybe it's stepping out in faith when the timing doesn't look ideal. Maybe it's letting go of control and trusting God with what you can't fix. Whatever it is, don't harden your heart. Don't delay obedience. God's rest isn't waiting at the end of your striving. It's found in surrender. He's not asking for perfection. He's asking for a soft heart. Because one small step of obedience today could end a 40-year detour tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Midlife Awakening. If this message stirred something in you, if you're tired of wandering and ready to step into God's promised rest, take a moment right now to follow and rate this podcast. Your rating helps this message reach others who are also walking through the wilderness seasons of life, searching for the courage to obey again. Until next time, may you keep your heart soft, your ears open, and your feet pointed toward the promise. And remember, the God who sustained you in the wilderness is the same God who will lead you into your rest.